Maine Governor versus Trump. The five is going to break it down. The viral moment between the Trump and Maine Governor.
You in court, President Trump just
Yeah.
laid the smackdown on Maine's Governor Janet
Smackdown.
Mills and right to her face for defying his executive order preventing trans athletes from competing in girls and women's sports.
Yeah.
Watch.
I understand Maine. Is the Maine here, the governor of Maine?
Wow.
Well, are you not going to comply with it?
I'm complying with state and federal laws.
Well, we are the federal law. Well, you better do it. You better do it because you're not going to get any federal funding at all if you don't. And by the way, your population, even though it's somewhat liberal, although I did very well there, your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports. So you better comply because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding.
There she is, right?
Every state, good. I'll see you in court. I look forward to that. That should be a real easy one. And enjoy your life after governor because I don't think you'll be in elected politics.
Oh.
Just hours after that dust-up at the governor's meeting, the Department of Education announcing a new Title IX investigation into Maine over the boys and girls in sports issue. It could result in Maine losing $250 million in annual federal funding. Judge, it's funny, you go to a nice luncheon with a bunch of other governors, and then bam, right in the face.
Well, it shouldn't have been a surprise because when Joe Biden left office, he tried to change Title IX.
Yeah.
And he tried to add the transgender identity as being a basis for discrimination. And so a federal judge has since vacated that, and the president has issued an executive order. And this should not be a surprise to any Democrat because the country, in incredible numbers, I don't know what the stats are, but the country is against men in women's sports. Everybody knows that a transgender is at a physical advantage over girls, okay? If you're playing in a girls' sport. So president's saying you're going to jeopardize $250 million in federal funding, and she's going to say, well, I'm following federal law and state law. Who cares what the state law said? The federal law has supremacy on this issue.
Yeah.
It's federal money, okay? And she's going to lose. And it's stupid of her, as far as I'm concerned, to say, well, with the federal law supports us. No, you're stupid. It doesn't.
Jessica, Maine's a poor state. Losing $250 million over something like this just seems dumb.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. I took it that Governor Mills was also talking about the anti-discrimination laws that exist and that she'll have to abide by them.
No.
And we'll see. That was my expectation that then this would happen immediately and there would be funding on the table and it'll play out. But the problem with some of these executive orders as it pertains to gender is that gender is a lot more complicated than
it's not.
They would have you believe. Like one of Trump's lawyers was in court with this federal judge, Judge Reyes, and said, there's men and there's women. It's just about male and female. Yeah. And the judge said that's actually biologically incorrect, that there are 30 examples of types of intersex people. So not everyone is access.
Well, what does that
It's
mean?
not intersex.
That?
Well, you say it.
Okay. Who the heck is that? That's that person, the doctor's or whoever that is, interpretations. There's only two genders, male and female. If you would have died, even if you identify as a non-binary, if you would have died today and you would be uncovered on Earth, let's say 50 years ago, forensics would label you as a male or a female. Simple as that. But I think this whole debacle about the Maine refusing it is, I don't know. I mean, there's only maybe a few of them, I think. In a few cases, that's not a lot. Why would you jeopardize a $250 million of federal funding to your public school? Doesn't make sense.
Both.
You have both? It's such a rare exception. It doesn't even.
That's exactly the point. It's just like the transgenders trying to compete. There's like 1%.
I'm not denying
that. Why force girls across this country to have to be in a bathroom? So just admit it's illegal, it's wrong, and the public doesn't want it.
Well, that's not what you would be admitting by saying, illegal doesn't mean.
For 200,000 years have been men and women. Now we got 3,
I'm
4,
just saying
20.
that
more than that, according to them.
30 types. The point is that you can't just make a generalized sweeping law that would exclude people who do exist. You have to make sure that there's some place for them in this conversation.
Okay, I'm going to cut her off. So the whole thing is Trump wants to prevent men joining women's sports, especially in school. That's what it is.
Disadvantage of women.
I have never said that I thought that transgender women should play in women's sports. I'm saying that some of these executive orders on gender are more complicated than the administration thinks, and then they show up in court and they don't even know about intersex people.
Let's get some of the other genders in here, Greg.
Well, first of all, the idea of gender being fluid and not male female was a sweeping decision made by many politicians without any science.
Yeah.
But I first want to talk about that amazing moment with the governors. With the Trump presidency, every morning is like the day after Halloween. I wake up and I have a big bag of candy waiting for me, and I have to slow down because I'm going to throw up before breakfast. I can't stop. I mean, I love this. And also what that does is it forces the discussion beyond the, I hate to use the phrase again, load-bearing phrase, transphobic. So generally what would happen is you would go like, I don't like to have, men saying that their women should not be in women's sports. And you go, well, that's transphobic. And then everybody go, ooh. Better shut down.
Yeah.
Now you go, no. You have to explain to me why. You have to tell me why that should be allowed. Then you can get into the argument. Well, there's this 0.000000000% who are intersectional. And he goes, well, that's great. I would call that the tyranny of the minority. That you would change all these rules for 0.0000000 of the population. So this is something the left does all the time. What about this exception? What about that? The Maine governor is a typical example of this old female progressive who puts men who say they're women above actual women. Their compassion is gained. They're terrified of not being virtuous. It's weird that when I compare myself to her, I'm the feminist. I'm arguing on behalf of authentic, safe spaces for women. Safe spaces that she would willingly sacrifice because she doesn't want to appear as in her world, transphobic. She's a coward. She's an absolute coward. I loved every minute of it.
And Greg doesn't want to be a feminist. You're forcing him to be a feminist.
That is true.
Yeah,
against his will.
I hate it.
You could join Trudeau. He's the ultimate feminist in his own words, self-declared. Look, the left may find gender complicated, but the American people do not. A Washington Post poll from 2023 found 34% think that biological men should be in women's sports. 34%, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 2023. Well, fast forward to Trump his executive order on this. 63% approve, according to Marquette. So why is the left choosing to die on the hill of a 70-30 issue? Go read the New York Times Undecided Voters. I'm just going to quote two sentences. I shocked myself when I voted for Trump. No one tell my family. I think I became radicalized, was the word she used, on the issue of men and women's sports. That ad said Kamala represents they, them, Trump represents you. That was so compelling. So die on the hill of this issue, Janet Mills. You walked into a brunch. You weren't expected to be called out. But this man's standing on a mountaintop of 70%.
He ate her brunch.
Yes, he did.
That was great. It's a tough block, Jess. Fastest is up next.
Oh, man. This is just funny, and it happens on there. But, all right. Let me know what you think in a comment. We'll see you again later.